Here's your wrestling news for May 21st, 2021, and your headlines for today include WWE releases Velveteen Dream, more allegations come to light, NXT locker room stunned over one particular release, MVP hints at Bobby Lashley facing a returning John Cena, Impact Wrestling drops hints of Daniel Bryan, more ex-WWE stars for Slammiversary. Will AEW cut down on blood and profanity with TBS move? Will Ospreay injured and vacates IWGP World Heavyweight title? New Japan Pro Wrestling locker room growing incredibly frustrated. Possible spoiler on big future feud for WWE Raw, and more. We're starting today with WWE, who released a total 8 people from their NXT brand, and when fans chimed in to ask why Velveteen Dream was still around, they clearly spoke too soon. According to PW Insider, Dream has been released from WWE, which isn't a huge surprise as the controversial star hasn't competed since the December 23, 2020, a very Gargano Christmas episode of NXT where he lost to Adam Cole. Currently serving out a 30-day non-compete clause like all other NXT releases this week, Sean Ross Sapp reports that Canyon Ceman sent out an email to those in WWE about Dream's release at 4:45 p.m. Eastern, and news of his release hit the internet mere minutes later. WWE NXT star Velveteen Dream was released today by the company, according to multiple sources. Dream had only recently returned to the Performance Center after months away, and though he was backstage at the May 10th Raw, he wasn't used on TV, nor were there ever plans to do so. The now former superstar was the subject of much controversy after claims of inappropriate sexual behavior with minors, and whilst WWE said that their investigation found no evidence of wrongdoing, one of Dream's accusers later said that they hadn't even been contacted as part of the investigation. Dream joined WWE in 2015 as Tough Enough fan favorite Patrick Clark, who impressed a lot of people, with Mick Foley being openly upset after his elimination. And after a lengthy run in NXT, his time with WWE is completely over. Around 6 months ago, Dream approached WWE's performance management team and revealed he wanted to walk away from in-ring action in favor of being a coach, and though the idea sounds bad, WWE seriously considered making the 25-year-old one of their coaches. It was during the discussions that word spread out backstage, and a huge internal outrage from talent caused WWE to drop any plans for him to coach, and now a new allegation has come to light about him. WWE's resident artist Rob Schamberger, who's completed hundreds of WWE paintings that have sold at auction and at their official store, shared a very interesting tweet following the news of Dream's release. Without naming names, Schamberger said that Dream was the most unprofessional person he's encountered in this business and hopes this release is a wake-up call for him. Schamberger didn't name Dream in his post, but the timing of his tweet made it clear who he was referring to. And now, the former North American champion will have to find his own place in wrestling outside of WWE. More news from WWE's NXT releases now, as a lot of names have gone from WWE's Gold brand this week, but the entire locker room was pretty floored with one particular departure. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer explained how many people in NXT were shocked by the release of Ezra Judge, aka EJ Nduka, who was cut despite having many incredible tools to become a top superstar. Meltzer had plenty of praise for Nduka himself, saying that if WWE could build a wrestler, they'd design someone like Nduka, who's billed at 6'8", 285 pounds, and with a 42-inch vertical jump. A high-level professional bodybuilder with national championships to his name, Meltzer noted how Nduka is taller than Braun Strowman, with a body better than Lex Luger, who never won a national championship in bodybuilding. Meltzer went on to say that even if Nduka wasn't progressing, the WWE have kept guys with far less potential, and speculated that maybe there was an issue with discipline, but that wasn't confirmed. He added that many talent were stunned by Nduka and stunned by WWE for releasing him. And whilst the wrestling prospect has sent out tweets saying he'll continue to work and promise to be back in WWE, the NXT locker room is surprised he was let go in the first place. One person not going anywhere is our almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley, who has demolished almost every opponent since his title win in March. After defeating both Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania Backlash, Lashley is looking for a new challenger, and that may be John Cena. when the WWE on Fox Instagram account uploaded a quote from Cena saying he can't wait to get back to WWE, MVP fired off a response, saying the Hurt Business and Lashley especially eagerly await his return. Fans may remember that in 2007, a young Lashley challenged then WWE Champion John Cena, but was unable to take the title from Big Match John at that year's Great American Bash. On the latest Raw, Lashley lost to Kofi Kingston in a surprising upset, and perhaps the chance to become a 17-time WWE World Champion will be enough to bring Cena back to WWE. Now, after WWE's mass cuts on April 15, 2020, Impact Wrestling teased a bunch of former WWE superstars for that year's Slammiversary, which ultimately saw Eric Young, Brian Myers, and the Good Brothers join, with more coming in as well. Given that WWE released another crop of talent on April 15th this year, it should hardly come as a surprise that Impact have teased even more names for this year's show, with a recent promo video teasing the Iconics, the Forgotten Sons, and Daniel Bryan. This doesn't mean any of them will be on the show, but it certainly got fans' attention, especially as nobody knows what Bryan will do next now that his WWE contract has expired. In addition to Impact, AEW also seemingly has a spot open for Bryan Danielson in the Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing, and Tony Khan may have some upset fans on his hands if Bryan doesn't appear next Sunday. Slammiversary will take place on July 17th this year, ironically 10 years exactly after CM Punk left WWE with the WWE Championship at Money in the Bank 2011, and perhaps Bryan will be the next big name to make a splash by leaving WWE for Impact. AEW news next, and with the news that Dynamite will be moving to TBS next January, there's been speculation on what kind of changes may be made to fit their new television home. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer was asked if AEW will be forced to tone down their programming content, but it looks like Warner Media know what they're paying for. Meltzer explained that whilst Warner Media is giving AEW more hours, more specials, and more money, there won't be any difference in the amount of blood, and that the company will continue to follow the same standards and practices on each station. The general idea is that Warner Media is very happy with AEW thus far, and they're already aware that AEW drops at least one S-bomb per show and often features blood on their programming. Featuring a match like Blood and Guts after a bunch of sitcom reruns on TBS might seem out of place now, but Warner Media knows what they're buying and have no problem with their content. One major boost from AEW's new deal with Warner Media is that it'll mean more money into the company that'll allow for bigger signings and more projects for the company. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer was asked how much money AEW is getting from this new contract, and whilst he didn't have the exact figure, he confirmed it's over $10 million. We'll have to see how Tony Khan spends this money exactly, but with $10 million extra and an extra hour on TV, things are looking bright for the All Elite promotion. We are heading to New Japan next, as Will Ospreay's time as IWGP World Heavyweight Champion is over. In a statement on the official New Japan website, it was reported that Ospreay suffered a neck injury on Night 2 of Wrestling Dantaku on May 4th and will be returning to his native UK for treatment and rehabilitation. It was at that event that Ospreay defeated Shingo Takagi to retain the title in a near 45-minute classic to close out the show. There's no update regarding how long Ospreay will be out for, or how New Japan will determine their next IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and we're sending our best to the UK wrestler at this awful time. Ospreay's vacating the title has shook the pro wrestling world, but now the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion isn't the only person on the roster not doing well. New Japan recently saw another outbreak which ended with shows cancelled, and now there's a growing frustration in the locker room as the world outside of wrestling keeps getting in the way. During Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez explained the situation that has the wrestlers so fired up, explaining, "There's a lot going on in New Japan, and there is a lot of frustration within talent about a lot of things. Not the least of which is, with the rules in Japan regarding leaving, coming back, quarantining, shows getting cancelled, you'd like to go home, but maybe you can't go home, and you have to quarantine to come back, and you can only be home for a second. I mean, there are people very frustrated. You can't blame it on New Japan. Things happen, outbreaks, things have to be cancelled. Japan itself is not doing much in terms of vaccinations. They might be a little bit above 2% now, but not much. There's people very frustrated." Ospreay joins a growing list of hurt top stars, including Kota Ibushi and Kazuchika Okada, as the lack of star power and the ongoing situation have created a perfect storm that's created a ton of frustration. Things are especially hard for foreigners in NJPW because they cannot go home when so many events are cancelled, and for now, they must wait in Japan or have to deal with the country's rigorous pandemic protocol. Fortunately, things seem to be getting back to normal, but we expect the after effects of the current frustration to be felt in New Japan the next time contracts are getting close to expiring. And we're ending with WWE, who have a ton of tag teams on their roster, but the Viking Raiders have done very little since recently returning. That could change soon, as during Raw's Lumberjack match, the Vikings had a moment with T-Bar and Mace that fans may have missed. To make things clear, T-Bar fired off a tweet with a photo of their confrontation, telling the Raiders that if they want a war, they'll gladly bring them one. Viking Raider Ivar was quick to respond, sharing a picture of Big Bird with T-Bar's face paint, and we'll have to see what WWE has in store for these teams if this teased feud goes anywhere before Vince McMahon changes his mind. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.